Um, Gosh, this is like a short story, but it's a short story about divine order and divine mathematical order, which are mathematical sequences in the way that numbers work with torque, speed, and geometry. So I thought I'd share a story, and I had a pretty unbelievable dream last night, although having been somebody to go chase a spirit of fire with my spirit of fire, right? It's not unusual. Oh no, I'm going to sneeze. Oh, whoa. Almost. Um, but it had to do with numbers and fire, right? Fire and ice, fire and water. And so I had a dream last night where I was in the backyard of a home, and here and right in front of me was the yard, like where there was a barbecue in like concrete, like a patio, and then the house itself, which was single story, with a typical what was known as shake roof, which you might find in Southern California. If you know the history of the Bel Air fire, stuff like that, those go up. And I've been on some pretty large fires, and that's what this story is sort of about. But last night I was there in the backyard up against an embankment, and I'm seeing the smoke come up on the other side of the house, which is called radiated and convective heat. And I'm starting to see the smoke go gray on the edge of the roof on the front of the house, and I'm going, it's venting. That's what's called venting. The gas inside the house is being preheated, and it's not unusual to see the roofs in the houses actually explode. The whole block goes up, right? So I was in a dream where the house is breathing and the pressure is building up, and that's what causes it to reach critical mass, like a hydrogen bomb, right? It's got to release all that energy, right? Out. The same way that you compress and implode, like holes that you fall into. And so I was reminded in 1970, and the year is not coincidental either. And it happened to be in September, and the number 9. The numbers don't lie when you're in the divine right ordered sequence with your template, our temples. And so what ended up happening is that on one of the first big fires that I was on was in San Bernardino. And here we are. This fire is burning from up in Big Bear, the Big Bear Mountains, and in just a matter of a day, actually a night and a day, had moved somewhere in the neighborhood of 50,000 acres, and it was just taking out everything in its path because there were Santa Ana winds that were pushing it up to 90 miles an hour, particularly on the ridge tops. If you know where Cajon Pass is, between the Mojave Desert and the valley below, otherwise known as the Inland Empire in San Bernardino, California. And so you could see this fire moving towards us because our assignment, we were the only engine that was sent up to the top of this ridge where these homes were. It was a cul-de-sac, so there was only one way in and one way out. So we got up to the top of the ridge top, and you could see the fire coming our way. And it was like listening to 1,000 freight trains. It was deafening, just absolutely deafening. So I was assigned to go on top of the roof, right, with an 1.5-inch line, which is 1.5 inches in the inside diameter, right, that was hooked up to the engine. The engine's hooked up to a hydrant, and there's just 3 of us, 3 firefighters, right? 2 guys were on the back of the yard, on the side of the yard. I was up on top of the roof, and here it comes. And it's coming right down the valley, and it's going to make a rise, what we call a chimney, because now you know how heat rises. So it's going to gain an enormous amount of thrust to go vertical, and we're right at the edge of where it's going to go vertical, right? Because between the roof of the house itself and where there was all this high grass and brush was only about 25 feet. So here comes this fire engine, howling, screeching right at us. So I'll never forget the nozzle that I have, and this is where the number 9 comes in. I will never forget that nozzle. I always made sure that whenever I went on the fire line and I was a nozzleman, I always had that nozzle. And it was built by a company called Elkhart. And I believe the name was Akron. It was actually a heavy nozzle because it was made out of brass. But guess what the volume was on that? The sound and light volume? 90 gallons of water per minute. That's right, 90. And so here comes this heat shooting bullets at me. It's like being hit with artillery. Hot embers, bullets, coming this way right at me. So I had the nozzle open with full fog pattern, right? Keeping myself completely soaked in water so that I don't vaporize, right? And so I thought I'd share that because I survived that, and I survived that as a result of number 9, which is called steam conversion. Fire vapor. Converting heat to steam. Now it's raining. Number 9. Mount Waialeale, the island of Kauai. Aya, Shadunaya, Kala, Zala. Have a good evening. Have a good night. Have a good day wherever you happen to be. We love you all. Be good to ourselves.